Hi Flosstube, this is Kim, aka Spartan Stitcher on Instagram, and I am back here today with Flosstube number 28. Today is the 5th of August, so summer is coming to a close, finally. It's been a little mentally challenging here, being in a house with now a 7 and a 4-year-old who have spent too many days together, too much time, forced to play with one another, especially when they're very strong-willed little girls that have their own ideas and want to do their own thing. And so it's constantly a battle to keep them from fighting. Trying to teach the little one how to work on her interpersonal skills and try to talk things through and say what she wants rather than just yelling. So yeah, my patience has been low. I've done more reading than I usually do, so I haven't stitched as much this week just because when I'm stressed and I'm have no patience with them, it's easier to read and escape rather than pick up some stitching. So, but I do have 4 pieces to show you. And before I started on the homework last week in the School of Magical Stitches in Literature, I had to work on my own personal goal, which I told you was to work on page 3 of Big Red Ship of Life to get my monthly stitches in for July. And I reached my goal. I got all the top border section done. So there you go. There is page 3. I did carry a little bit into page 4 just to be able to finish up that last bit of top border, and then that straight line single stitch border was just to finish off a thread. So there's page 3 on Big Red Ship of Life, and I will work more on page 3 in August and September. And that's a pretty accurate color to the fabric and the floss. So the fabric is 28 count tea-dyed even weave from MCG Textiles, and the floss is DMC 3808, which is like a tealy green. So met my goal on that one. So I started my homework late in the week, and then choosing to do most of the homework on Camelot 1/1 stitches meant I didn't get my homework done until Sunday around lunchtime, which is really late for me, but I got it done. So the homework last week was, excuse me, was that the Stitching Army were learning spells, as in Dumbledore's army in their secret meetings, and you had to link the piece that you were using with each spell. Well, I had to do penalty stitches for the first one, which was Stupefy? No, I can't even, the one with the, oh god, I can't even think now. And I have it written right in front of me. Expelliarmus. You had to use either red metallics or red beads, and I wasn't just going to start a piece for that. So I did penalty stitches on Camelot. For Stupefy, I used Camelot because in the jousting scenes, there's knights trying to knock each other out. Well, that will stun you. And then for Levy Corpus, a piece that's flying in midair, I used Museum Shelf, my supersized piece, because there is a pterodactyl in the dinosaur corner, and pterodactyls fly, so that's in midair. Reducto, something that's in pieces, I used Camelot because Camelot is a sampler, so you stitch a sampler in different pieces and it all comes together. And also, then the last part was Expectro Patronum, something that relates to your Patronus. Now, I filled out the quiz on Pottermore at the beginning of the year, and it said my Patronus is an aardvark. Obviously, you're not going to find that in cross stitch, but the way that they worded the task, you could also stitch on character traits or, personality traits that relate to that, that Patronus, and you can find online a list of those character traits. Well, according to the website, Aardvarks are determined, fierce, because, you know, it doesn't matter what bothers them, they're going after their food, and persistent. So all three of those traits sound like knightly traits. So again, I used Camelot for that one. So I used Camelot for 3 or 4 out of the 5 tasks, and penalty stitches on one of them. And then supersized museum shelf color expansion for the Levy Corpus. So I'll show you that one first. And there is your pterodactyl. Now, okay, it's a full coverage piece, so he's not exactly on blank fabric, but pterodactyls fly. So he's in midair. And I am on the second partial page down here. So floor, a little bit of greenery, and the bottom of that nautilus shell. That's the page that I'm on. So I did homework on this, and then also I started stitching more on it for the extra credit task of grop, or work on your biggest whip. Obviously my supersize is my biggest whip. Pardon me as I move things around. This is on my homemade PVC frame. Again, it is 48 inches wide, 10 inches high, and uses Q-snap clamps to secure the fabric to the PVC frame. So those are my stitches. So I did 400 tent stitch for the homework task, and I have almost 400 more for the start of grop. Now, because this is 10 stitch, I have to do 1,000 stitches for that task instead of 500. So I still have quite a ways to go, but I'm also using this piece in full coverage fanatics for woodland creatures, because dinosaurs can live in the woods if you've ever watched Jurassic Park, and also by the numbers 2400. So I'm going to get 4800 tent stitches on this piece. Hopefully get some good progress to get more pages. So doesn't look like much yet, but again, it's floor, and then up here in the blank spot is going to be where the shell is. So that's that. Let me lean this over here. And then the other 4 tasks were on Camelot Sampler, and I'm on the joust scene now. I gridded it, and then you see the dirt or the shade under each horse, and then the kind of the ground level where the dais is, and then back here you can't really tell in this picture, but behind the king and the queen there's just some gray background. Well, all those are tent stitches. So I did all that, you know, counting double for my tasks. And then I started on the gray horse. And if you tell, okay, so gray horse's legs only go up to his legs because of all the finery he has on, but then the knight's leg in his armor is also gray. And get some tension so you can see this better. There you go. Oh, and I also did a little bit of their lances. That's the brown in there. But so all this gray across is tent stitch. These spots are tent stitch. The gray here is tent stitch. And then full cross for the horse's legs and the knight's leg as he sits on the horse. Doesn't look like much, but there is quite a few stitches there. The half stitches saw me through a task and a half of the homework, and the rest are all 1/1 full stitches. So that's where I'm at with Camelot. And then a piece that you didn't expect to see again, which, oh, by the way, now I can explain the title of last week's video, that Are You Impressed? So if you've read Anne McCaffrey's Pern books, when a person bonds with a dragon at hatching, that's called impression. So that was a little, word pun that you only would have understood if you've read the books. Now, I posted the picture of my design in a few places, one of which was my personal Facebook page. So then you find out people that you've known for a while that you didn't know that they were Pern fans until they see your piece and they understand it and they make a comment. One of my neighbors that lives the next street over, she saw it and she said, "That's really cool, but why didn't you put them in the order that they were founded?" And I'm like, what? I thought I did. I went off my memory and I checked one website and I designed my pattern in the way that they were founded. But the website that I checked was wrong. And so I had to go back, do some more research, find where I was wrong. And of course, I have to fix it. I can't just let it sit. I have to fix the model. I have to fix the pattern. Well, this morning I finished fixing the model. I still have to go in on my computer and fix the pattern. So you get to see it again. I worked on this yesterday and today to switch Telger and Eigen. So in person, of course, because this is Ada, I can see a little bit of where the other word used to be. Like you can see a little bit of shading there, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not stitching the whole thing over. But now at least I can take a new picture of this for when I fix the pattern and update my shop listing. And yeah, fix the pattern, fix the listing, and then figure out how I want to fully finish this piece. So I really enjoyed hearing all of you that actually are fans of the Pern books, and or even people who haven't read the books and all of a sudden want to go check them out. You will not be disappointed. So, and let's see. This week in the School of Magical Stitches and Literature, the headmistresses have been called to the Ministry of Magic, and Professor Umbridge is in charge of Hogwarts. So we need to pick a piece that wants to make us quit, or that we have thought of quitting, and put in 1,000 stitches and tell why. I could always pull out the Hogwarts class schedule, Sal. That's kind of a UFO of mine, designed by Armada Designs. But since I'm not sure if I'm going to actually finish that piece, 1,000 stitches is a lot of stitches. And I'd have to continue redesigning each block. That's a whole lot of work, and then do the stitching. So I'm going to work on, let me pull this out so you can see better. My Dimensions kit. This is full coverage, Macintosh Mill. This is a Charles Wysocki art converted into cross stitch. And this piece is a piece I want to quit, I would say, because it's my last whip that I always pick up. I've only worked on this piece a couple of days this year, and it's always been for Magical Stitches homework. It hasn't seen enough progress, and I need to get back into it so I don't quit it. This is on 18 count Ada, and as most dimension kits are, there is a mix of half stitch and full cross, although unlike other dimensions, this doesn't change how many threads you're using. This is always 2 threads, and that's how far I am right now. So I will probably continue on the big building, maybe fill in that roof would be easy, maybe do more sky, something easier to get 1,000 stitches of good progress. So that is Macintosh Mill. I will continue working on my supersized piece to finish the extra credit task for Grop. I still need to get to my last extra credit task, which is the Christmas piece, which I'm going to start the Santa Sampler by Cooler Design Studio. And also this month for By the Numbers 1200, I'm going to work on Sunday Delight and try to get more of the piece with the dinosaurs, dragons, and ice cream and banana. So we'll work on that. I got some Pass the Stash from Nicole Buckeye Stitcher. She was done with this pattern, so she passed it to me because she knows how much I love birds and how much I love this pattern. So she sent me the pattern and the rest of her floss. So I've got that to stitch up. That'll be a fun piece. And I've got something to send back to Nicole once I get to the post office. But it's a surprise. One shout out to a new Flosstuber that I discovered a couple days ago. He's already put out 2 videos. This is a new male stitcher. His name is Scott. His channel name is Chubby Nerd Stitcher. He's already gotten a few shout outs from Blitz Stitch and who else shouted him out? I think Pam and Steph. So he's already got quite a few followers, but he's does some interesting pieces. He sews, he quilts, and stitches. So go check him out. He likes wildlife and nerdy stuff, obviously. So, and then when I was talking about last week about making project bags with old blue jeans and bed sheets. So I tried one out. I didn't take any measurements. I had no measurements, no drawings, just what was in my head. I was trying things out to see what would work. I knew that it wouldn't be pretty, but I knew it was only for myself. Only I care as long as it's usable. I can learn from my mistakes and make better ones in the future. I wanted to try to see if I could use like the butt pocket on your blue jeans. Try to see if I could use that on the front of the bag. And then I also used some blue jeans from my daughter that had stars in them. So this isn't pretty, but this is my first prototype. I still have lots and lots of material I can use. So here's prototype number 1. So there's the back pocket. This looks like dirt spots, but those are the stars on the jeans. So this is from my daughter's jeans. These are from mine. So here's the back leg, and the back piece of fabric is, there's a seam here in the middle that you can't hardly see. But there's more jeans from the back. Those are wrinkles from like the backs of your knees. So this used like less than half. This used about half a pair of jeans for one bag. If I would have, not used my daughter's jeans on the front and used my own, the same pair of jeans, it would have used like both the back of both legs. So what I do when I cut up the jeans is that I cut up the length of the leg, both the inseam and the outer seam on both sides of the seam. So the seams are gone. All you have is pure denim, no thick seams to get around. And then just, squaring off edges so that you can sew them together. So the first thing I did is I made this front panel. I had the pocket that I wanted to try to use. And then I have other fabric bags that I was trying to get to approximately the same size. So that's when I added the fabric from my daughter's jeans. And then I sewed the back panel together. And then sewed those two together. There's your seam right there. Right here along the bottom of the bag. And then using Vanna's tutorial for making a project bag. That's what this is. I cut out the flat sheet for the inside panel. I did not use any fusible fleece like she did. Again, I was trying things out. I know that denim is thick to begin with, and that my sewing machine, which is pretty old, had a problem with the fusible fleece, the first bag that I made. And so I was trying things out. I have the heavy duty, if you see there, That's the kind of thread you see on your jeans. So I bought that from Joann's when I made that purse for my daughter. So it's that yellow, super thick thread. And I still had problems because in Vanna's tutorial, when you stitch this top edge of your envelope, she folded in like an inch and then sewed across. Well, I didn't have that much fabric. Because if you look at your blue jeans, there's only like this much fabric before there's the seam on the back of it. And so I had cut that as close as I could to the seam. I didn't have much fabric. So this top seam was very difficult to try to get in without sewing the pocket closed. Because obviously, what's the point of having the pocket there if you can't use it? So I had to stop and start or try to squeeze right past. Like on this side I squeezed right past and moved the pocket down and kept sewing there. But because there's a little bit of stretch to this denim, by the time I got to this side of the pocket, look at that. Look at that. I got a big gap I can stick my finger in. Because I was pulling this so tight as I was stitching it and trying to, fold the fabric under and get the seam where it needed to be. I stretched it too much. So I got a gap there. I had to stop, start again. And then as I was sewing the outer, look at that ugliness. My needle got caught as I came over this. The foot went over it just fine, but then the needle got caught up and yep, that was a mess. Plus the fact that you can look at my seams not straight. This is all, this is the bag for me. I'm trying things out. So, and it still works. If I do use the pocket again in the future, I'm going to have the pocket lower down so that, like in Vanna's tutorial, I can put some Velcro or a snap here and have something down here. Obviously with the pocket there, makes it kind of hard to secure it. I mean, I could probably hand sew some Velcro on there, sticking my hand through the pocket. But this was a test piece. And there's nothing wrong with this sheet. What I was trying to say last week is that, my husband has very oily skin. So like the fitted sheet gets nasty. The pillowcases get nasty. But then there's nothing wrong with the flat sheet somehow. So I've got 3 different flat sheets from all the years that we've been married that I've held on to use for, miscellaneous things. So there's the sheet in the middle. So I will continue to try different methods to sew together a project bag. But there's one. And it's about, let's see. Here's the, so that's Camelot sampler. That'll fit in there plenty easy. It'll fit in there. My floss cards would fit in there. So there you go. It's inside. I could fit my floss cards. I could fit, I don't think an 11 by 11 would fit in there, but certainly a 8 by 8 Q-snap would fit in there. So, trip number 1 into playing around making project bags for myself. I think that's it. We're at 23 minutes. I got 2 more weeks until the girls go back to school. Oh, so Camelot, I'm working on that every single day for my own personal 90-day challenge. I have made plans to fly to Louisiana at the end of September to go see my horse. So, the personal 90-day challenge has become the 86-day challenge because I don't plan on taking this whole thing with me. For one, it's too big and bulky, and yeah. And part of me, in a little part of my brain, is like, I wonder, I've got all of August and most of September. How much can I get done before then? So, but this will be an 86-day challenge now. looking forward to going to see my horse, but at the same time, it's going to be difficult because I only get to see him for a couple of days and then I have to leave again. But my friend will be showing him and also riding in a clinic with him that I'll get to watch. I'll actually get to see in person some of the things that she's been able to do that I wouldn't have been able to dream about doing with him myself. And hopefully the Friday that I fly down, I'll be able to get to ride him myself for a little bit. Although I don't expect, I think it's only a pleasure ride. It's not that I want to try all the things because I myself haven't ridden in over a year. So, all right, guys, have a good week, and we shall see you later. Bye.